A big thank you to MPB for sponsoring this week's video. Hello everybody, hope you're all well. That was Amsterdam, as I'm sure many of you will recognise, and in this video I'm going to show you some of the photos that I took in Amsterdam when I was there last week. I was there for a couple of reasons. Number one, to take some photos, and number two, well, a friend of mine had his stag do there this weekend, and bottom line, I am too old and have too much grey hair for that much beer. I got back 3 days ago and I still feel awful. But anyway, as well as showing you some of the photos that I took in Amsterdam, I want to talk about this little thing here. You see that? Focus. There we go. But some more photos first, I think, while I have some more water. So this is a Peak Design cuff, I think it is. Lots of companies make them, but basically the concept is that it's an insurance policy if you're holding your camera in your hand. So basically if you drop your camera, if it gets knocked out of your hand, it won't hit the floor because it's tied to you. But before I talk about what I think the value of this is, I need to rewind a little bit. So if you have followed this channel for a while, you'll know that I am a big, I want to say proponent or advocate of, supporter of, I'll use that because my brain's not working. I'm a big supporter of the idea of never having your camera in your camera bag, basically. If there's even the remotest possibility of you taking a photo, then I think your camera should be on your person and not tucked away in your camera bag until you get back to your house, your hotel, your car, just somewhere where it's very unlikely you'll be taking a photo. And ultimately the reason for that is that over the years I have missed out on so many photos because an opportunity has lasted 1 or 2 seconds, and in the time it's taken me to get my bag off my back and my camera out, the opportunity's gone. And as a result, over the years, I've used a number of different product types to make sure that my camera is always on my person. Starting with this is a Peak Design capture. I'm sure many of you have seen these by now. Lots of different companies have ripped these off from Peak Design. And this one is probably about 5 years old. Still works perfectly for what it's worth. And basically, if you don't know, typically this lives on a backpack shoulder strap, and it just means that you're hands-free whenever you need to be, and you just slot the camera back into here. And it's just brilliant in cases where a camera strap is not appropriate because the camera would just be wobbling around your body. And again, on a mountain around rocks, you don't really want that for the sake of the front element of your lens or any of the other parts of the camera, to be honest. That said, because I don't really like to use backpacks anymore for my photography because I don't carry nearly enough gear to justify the weight of them, straps are my favourite solution these days. And as I said, you need to be careful if you're scrambling up a mountain and your camera's sort of wobbling around your body. And you also need to make sure that your camera's not so heavy that after a day of photography your neck isn't about to fall off. But aside from those two things, I love using camera straps. And this is my new one. What do you think? Too loud? I really like it. Now, as much as I love camera straps, I don't actually think they are the best solution for a photographer or a photographer's photography. That falls to this, I think. So a couple of times on this channel, I think I've spoken about a concept that I have called micro laziness. And in short, I don't consider myself a particularly lazy person. I try to keep myself in shape, weekends full of beer aside. I think I work quite hard, and by all the normal measures of laziness, I don't think I meet them, for the most part. That said, I consider myself an extremely micro-lazy person. And what I mean by that is that if I have finished some food and I'm putting my plate back in the kitchen, often I will stick it next to the sink rather than going to the trouble of opening the dishwasher door. I don't drink nearly enough water because that would entail picking up a water glass every 20 minutes, and it's quite difficult. If I'm driving late at night and there are no other cars around, I tend not to indicate as much as I probably should, because again, that would entail going to the trouble of pressing a lever. And basically what I'm getting at is that these are things that require next to zero effort to do, but my brain has a habit of convincing me not to bother with them. And to be honest, there is no place more worrying for this in my life than in my photography. And it's the reason, in short, that I have switched to these, because alongside missing opportunities that only last 1 or 2 seconds with a backpack, I've also noticed that when I have a backpack and my camera is tucked away, that often I will convince myself that a scene is not worth the trouble of getting the camera out of the bag and therefore taking a photo. And if I look at my portfolio, there is a big percentage of photos there that I didn't think I particularly liked at the time I took them. And it was only when I got home, started spending time with them, edited them, that I started to really enjoy them. Which I think is a long way of saying that I need to make sure there is zero resistance between my brain and my camera. Because there are lots of photos that in the field I don't think are worth taking at the time, but they are the photos that in many cases I grow to like. Now, I have come to realise over the years that just as there is a difference between how many photos I take if my camera is stored in my bag versus me using a strap, I also think there is a difference between using a strap and using one of these where my camera is in my hand 100% of the time. Because when my camera isn't in my hand, taking a photo would involve me moving my hands up to a camera that's around my neck and then taking a photo. And that's a lot of effort. And obviously, I'm partly joking when I say that, but also I'm not. Because when I have been out in the past and tried to pay attention to how many times my brain tells me that a photo isn't worthwhile, despite the fact I'm shooting digital, there is no consequence to taking more photos. There is a big difference between the number of photos I take when I wear one of these versus when I wear one of these. And in truth, I absolutely despise using one of these because I don't like having my camera in hand all the time. Particularly if I'm trying to drink a coffee or in basically any scenario where I want more than one hand. Maybe I want to put my hands in my pockets. Well, then this is just super inconvenient. But there is no doubt I take more photos when I use one of these versus when I use anything else. And I know that I'm not alone in that. So yeah, in short, basically, give one of these a go. They're quite inexpensive and I would recommend shooting with them every so often. And I know a lot of you are probably saying, oh, that's ridiculous. I'm not micro lazy. But I think for a lot of people, it's subconscious. So at the very least, next time you go out taking photos, pay attention to the number of times you convince yourself that it's not worth pressing the shutter. Because I would say, particularly again, if you're shooting digitally, it's always worth pressing the shutter. If in doubt, I can't think of a rhyme. Spray it out. Anyway, big thank you for watching. Hopefully this has been useful. And also a big thank you to the sponsor of this week's video, MPB. The place, in my opinion, to both buy and sell used camera gear. And a huge percentage of the gear that I use is from MPB. And over the years, it has saved me a fortune. So if you're looking to buy a new camera or a lens or a bag or a tripod, whatever it might be, check MPB first, because with every piece of kit, you get a 6-month warranty as well as the opportunity to save hundreds and hundreds of pounds, or maybe thousands. Also, as far as I'm concerned, it's the place to sell your camera gear to, because you can bypass all of the hassle of selling your gear privately, and MPB take care of all the shipping. They'll come and collect your kit from your house. They'll let you know when they've received it, they'll let you know when they've assessed it, and if you agree to the sale, they will pay you really promptly. In short, it's a fantastic service and I'm so proud to have them as a sponsor on the channel. So yes, check them out and check out Amsterdam. Lovely city, too many good bars. Just, no. I'll see you next week.